Auckland's going to be in huge trouble in 10 years if we continue in the same direction, and I don't want to see that happen. I have the ideas and the policies and the vision to actually make Auckland grow properly. Well, you know, I've always been in the hospitality business, and I'm very passionate about people. And I love Auckland. I've been here for 21 years, and I've seen Auckland deteriorate. And it really bothers me that Auckland is not really moving up and taking advantage of the wonderful opportunities that we have here. You know, the growing population, the diversity in the culture, and we're actually falling behind. We're going into debt. We have people who are homeless, and I'm a person that has to do something about it. You know, I lived in New York City, and I lived in Los Angeles. And I'm a person that looks at things and understands how things work. I look at the transport in New York, and I see what works in New York. And I look at the transport in Los Angeles while I lived there, where we had to spend 3 hours a day going to work and coming home. The traffic is atrocious. And I see Auckland falling into the same trap. They're building like Los Angeles, and Auckland's going to be in huge trouble in 10 years if we continue in the same direction. We will have another 400,000 or 500,000 people living here. Quite a few of them will be out of jobs. The housing will be very expensive. The rates will go up. And then Auckland eventually, the congestion is going to just stop on the highways, and Auckland's going to stop. And it's going to be a city that everyone's going to eventually leave because it's going to be unbearable. And I don't want to see that happen. I have the ideas and the policies and the vision to actually make Auckland grow properly. The growth plan that Auckland has is just atrocious. And I have the vision and the policies, and I wrote my book about what we can do to fix Auckland. And I believe that those things will fix Auckland. One of the things that the city could do and should do is put up more cameras, more surveillance. The more surveillance you have, which means that you can find the criminals very quickly. And as that starts to happen, where you're actually finding these criminals quickly, hopefully they'll think twice about doing something because there's cameras up everywhere. It works in many other areas. Many cities have a lot of cameras that actually reduce crime quite a bit, and we have to do that. But some of the problems that we have as far as crime are also caused by council. We have caused the property values to go up so high that the people who can't afford it have to be pushed further and further out into the suburbs. And those people are being pushed further out from where the jobs are. And they're becoming jobless, and they're becoming homeless, and they're becoming desperate. And when they become desperate like that, they're attacking people and trying to steal as much as possible. Some of it's not that case. Some of it is just people who, you know, get a kick out of it, and some of it is people who are mentally disturbed. But a good portion of it has been happening more and more because we're pushing people away from the work and away from the city, and they're becoming desperate and out of work and out of money. Some people say, look, don't cut my rates. You just need to fix the other problems. But then there's some people who are desperate. You have elderly people who have retired, who have planned their retirement. They know what their house was worth. They know how much income they're going to get for the next 20 years, which would probably be the end of their life. And then all of a sudden, their house has tripled in price. Their rates have more than quadrupled in price. Their insurances have gone up because now your house insurance is going to triple because your house is no longer insured for $400,000, it's insured for $1.2 million. They can't survive. And you have these people, not just the elderly people, but other people as well who no longer can live in Auckland. And this is where they've had their whole life, and they have to move out. And that's not fair. We've gone up drastically in the past 5 years. So we started with an amalgamation. We had 7 councils, and we reduced it to 1. Now, anybody in business would know that has to have a savings. It has to. There's no way it cannot have a savings. You just combined 7 companies, and they borrowed more money, and they've hired more staff. They've hired 3,000 more staff. Their payroll percentages are up to 27% when the rest of the country's historical averages for councils is 22%. So there's 5% right there. They're spending money on non-core business. They're spending money on things that are pet projects, like the Whitewater Rafting and Kayak Center. $20 million went to that. For what reason? You know, so we need to actually look at these things. We need to bring the payroll down to what an historical average should be, what a proper business should be for a council. We need to look at our purchasing. It's a little bit of both, but it's mostly a local government. Now, in my policies in my book, I've talked about opening up the metropolitan urban limit so that we can build more houses. Labor Party and National Party have both agreed publicly. They came out with policies a few weeks ago stating that we need to open up the metropolitan urban limit. National has said they're actually going to change laws and open up the metropolitan urban limit. So they agree with my policies. And my policies are about opening that up so we can build houses. Now, what Auckland is doing is they're trying to restrict the growth. We have a green belt around Auckland, which is very much like Los Angeles. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to fill up that area of land before we grow. And what they're saying is that, well, we can't afford the infrastructure over there. But the fact of the matter is you can't afford not to do that. So what happens is we're like Los Angeles. We're trying to infill all those houses in suburbs. Yet those people are not coming to the city to work, so they can't use the mass transit. They have to get in their car. 90% of them. So they're having to get in their car. And because we're restricting this growth and we're not building enough houses, the house prices are going up drastically. It's hugely dangerous. Some people are happy because they have properties and their properties are going up. Their rates are going up. But a lot of people are having to move out. The young folks are not going to be able to afford housing. The folks who are not even just young, who are in their 30s and 40s, they're going to have to move out because they can't afford their rates or they can't afford to buy their first house. They're not going to have enough deposit. It's going to be very, very, very difficult. And it's really going to segregate so much the poor and the rich. It's going to. Now, how we fix that is that we open up the metropolitan urban boundary and we build nodes, hubs. For instance, we should be building up Albany. And then we should be building another city. We should be building a brand new CBD area, a brand new satellite city. Now imagine this. We have the opportunity of 300,000 or 400,000 people moving to New Zealand. That is an amazing opportunity. That is gold. What do we do with it? We try to shove them into neighborhoods? We're building nothing. Let's build a brand new satellite CBD where we put the best infrastructure in.